If you're still playing the Atari Jaguar, well, you really need a I Am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games. And today we do the review of Skyhammer for the Atari Jaguar.
Second Opinion Games.
So Skyhammer, it's an incredible 3D flight game, originally made by Rebellion, the same people that gave us Alien vs. Predator for the Jaguar, and finished then by Songbird Productions, released in the year 2000, long after the Jaguar was dead and when most of us have moved on. However, we were really wrong in doing so. You see, this is by far one of the best games for the Atari Jaguar. Most people think of the Jaguar as really bad, like sub Sega Saturn, definitely sub PlayStation 1, and clearly sub Nintendo 64. However, if this same game came out on Nintendo 64 or the PlayStation 1, people would say that it's pushing its limits because it sounds absolutely amazing. The graphics look great. It doesn't have the same fog that the Nintendo 64 was known for. It does have a relatively short view, but that's a really small gripe because the game is freaking huge. You have a map on it, and you can see your Gatling gun shields and how much damage, how much fuel you have. See, this just isn't a shooter game. This is a very in-depth game. You have to manage all your resources between money and bullets and missiles just to freaking make it through the tiniest bit of this game. And that part can be a little on the boring side, just navigating through the menus. You could even work out a warp zone in there too and go straight to the area you need to. Or you could usually do what I do, is fly super high above the rooftops and get there as fast as possible. That way it doesn't eat up some of your money, which you tediously have to manage throughout this game. You could upgrade your engines, which then give you a little bit of advantage, especially if you're playing with the Pro Controller, because then the left and right buttons help bank your ship. Left and right, which is so needed. Matter of fact, this whole game feels like it was designed with the Pro Controller in mind. So if you have a Pro Controller, you absolutely have to get this game. If you don't have a Pro Controller, it's still very playable, but you might want to now consider getting the Pro, as expensive as that is. And as pricey as this game is, it is not cheap. Usually costing right around $100 with shipping and all taxes included. So take that into accommodation. So the game has two modes, mission mode and battle mode. Mission mode is the main storyline of the game and gives you a scenario which you have to accomplish the mission. I have beaten this game on easy just to have the end screen to make fun of me, saying that some people have done it blindfolded. Honestly, this game is super difficult. If you just run into any situation, guns blazing, you're gonna go down and down fast. So really take your time. It also kind of hinders a game reviewer trying to show you off this game because the way I would normally tackle a mission is very slow and tedious, and it's really not something you guys want to see. So trust me on this. Take your time. Move very slowly around corners, use your radar to the fullest extent, and take down the enemy ships. They come in wide range and they all look awesome. Also here, it doesn't matter how fast you go, because if you bump into a wall, that's it. You're just bumping into a wall. You don't take any damage whatsoever. So sometimes it's just easier to run past the enemies than it is to engage in them, especially because your ammunition costs money and fuel is at a high price as well. You have to manage all the things, just like I said before, so sometimes it's better to run past them and choose your targets wisely. With the other mission, it's battle mission, which essentially is destroy the enemy base and you win. Be careful not to shoot at your own people though. Yeah, you even have your own stuff. You don't really control them directly. They're all on autopilot, but that's okay. Again, choose your targets wisely, but you don't have all the craziness that you had to deal with the mission mode. One thing I really want to point out is on other games like Doom with the texture mapping, people say, well, the hardware just couldn't do music. And with Alien vs. Predator, with all the ambient sound effects and the texture mapping there, people said, well, the frame rate just couldn't be done because the hardware couldn't handle it. Well, then how the heck can Skyhammer do this? There's music in the background. The frame rate is really, really good, and only a handful of times did I have it drop. And the game plays so good. The controls feel perfect in my hands. So how come all these previous games, they said it just couldn't be done? Well, guess what? It was done on Skyhammer. Probably one of the best games for the Atari Jaguar, and maybe even one of the best games of the entire generation. Yeah, beating out a heck of a lot of Nintendo 64 games and PlayStation 1 games alike. So if you have a Jaguar and you're still playing it today, you owe it to yourself to get Skyhammer, even at the high price. And then once you sink your teeth into that, you're going to want to buy a Pro Controller extremely bad until you're hungry for it. And then you'll get that, and then it'll all be worth it. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. So, how much did you love Skyhammer? I know you absolutely loved it because it's a great game. It does have a huge learning curve though, so take your time. Get used to it. Otherwise, just running in the battles, you're gonna die, and you're gonna feel horrible and beaten down. But the game really is good. Just really get into it, devote yourself to it. You'll be having a blast in no time. So, tell me all about what you've thought about this game and what you think of the review and any questions you have. Maybe even for future titles coming up. I still have two absolutely huge games, one of which I so can't wait to cover and talk about with you guys. So, until later, I'll see you again, guys.